All right, so Mars went into retrograde on the 6th and will be in retrograde until February 23rd, 2025. So we have about a little over 2 months to deal with this energy. And when you're thinking of Mars, you always want to look at where it is transiting in your birth chart. When we're thinking of Mars in retrograde, this is a time where you might notice the way you've been proceeding through things, the way you have been approaching situations, your direction needs to be redirected. And so it can sometimes be things that we are doing in a way that is not productive for ourselves. And we need a reminder that we need to go back to the drawing board, fix it, and work it out. Now, with Mercury, Mercury retrograde, we're dealing with ideas, we're dealing with, mishaps, we're dealing with miscommunication. With Mars, it's really about your vitality. It is what you are approaching. It is what you have embodied as the way in which you handle and direct situations. You're not changing necessarily your thoughts about something. With Mars in retrograde, it is an opportunity to change the way you are doing something, and also changing the way in which you view what is success. Also a way in which you are viewing how you are able to deal with situations that aren't easy to conquer. We deal with Mars, Mars is about action. Mars is about dominance, power, right? Our Mars placement, wherever it is, doesn't mean we're all dominant and in control and we're all obsessed with power, but that is where we feel the most confident in proceeding and doing things a certain way. But when Mars is in retrograde, it reminds us the way we do things may not be the way we need to do them. And so there can be challenges, but for some people, those challenges can be quite productive. Because some of you weren't going to change your ways. You weren't going to change the way you approach situations, people, your relationships, your job, your goals. You weren't going to change those things until something produces a challenge for you. And now you are jolted and realize, oh, wow, I might have been going about this the wrong way. A lot of times we project. We think what is outside of us is the problem. And if I just keep doing this the way I've been doing it, something will magically change. And sometimes, yes, we do have to work through situations. We have to be patient. But sometimes we are doing things that are counterproductive to what we actually say that we want. And so Mars in retrograde is that kind of slow down opportunity. And it might course correct you, okay? And it might put you in a situation where you didn't think you had to do something, but now you have to do it in a different way. We're dealing with Mars and Leo. Now we're also dealing with confronting our pride, confronting our ego, confronting us thinking something was the best way. And guess what? Something might have been the best way 2 months ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago. Something might have been the best way, or you might have gotten praised for doing things a certain way at a certain time with certain people. But with this Mars and Leo retrograde, right? There is this great opportunity for you to actually see that there is a new way that you might need to approach situations so that you can actually feel that you're more productive. Some of your, think of Mars and Leo, okay, we're dealing with performance. Some of your performance, some of your praise, some of you that have filled down a lot lately, it is expired. The way you've been doing things is expired. You're no longer getting praise for something. And you think, I'm just going to keep doing it and somebody will notice me. But really it's, hey, there's a next level to this. You have to actually course correct and do things a little bit differently in order to get what you got before. So the Mars and Leo retrograde can be a lot about us confronting our pride, confronting our ego. Now, January 6th, Mars goes back into Cancer in retrograde until February when it, goes direct. And so here is now confronting your true feelings. And so if we've confronted our ego before, right, when Mars was in Leo, now it is about confronting the way in which we feel and we approach situations. So unlike the Sun in Cancer energy, where Sun in Cancer, we know can sometimes it's nurturing what it cares about, Mars requires us to do something, to care enough to cause some type of action. But Mars doesn't like being in Cancer, so that can be friction within yourself or with other people. But unlike the Sun in Cancer energy, where that can be that shell, I'm going to protect myself when I don't like what's happening. Mars is, I'm going to exert something out into the atmosphere when I don't like what's happening. And so Mars in Cancer in retrograde is correcting something. It is acting on the behalf of what you truly feel, but you have to do so in a way in which it is producing some sort of correction. You are now allowing yourself to move in a way in which you are giving more awareness to what it is that you feel and being really direct and open with it. You could be realigning at that time with things you said you didn't care about. You're realigning with something that you said, no, I'm done with that. You're realigning with something that you were afraid of and you ran from, and now you're realizing it's confronting you. And so again, remember with these retrogrades, it is about confronting things. It is redoing. It is revisiting. It is revising. Because if we just went direct all the time, we would miss the mistakes we made. We would just be going forward, forward, forward. But sometimes we're going forward and we miss something along the way that actually needs to be fixed, corrected, or that we need to spend a little bit more time with. All right. So those are some things you can expect with this Mars in retrograde season.